Wilcox Show.
All right. Well, this is good. Our buddy Brad Borders in the studio with us, and you may not know the name, but Brad works for Purple Heart Homes, which does tremendous stuff all over the country, by the way, providing housing solutions for service-connected, disabled, and aging veterans. And Brad was one of the guys who was instrumental on our trip to Alaska when we put ramps on veterans' homes in Anchorage and Fairbanks. And this is something, by the way, the ramps in different cities, something that we're going to do continually as soon as this whole damn COVID thing gets behind us, at least in some form or another. But Brad Borders is here. It's exciting, right?
In studio, no doubt.
Why? I think you may be the first since all of the COVID-19 stuff hit.
He is.
Yeah, he is the first. First of all, one of the reasons why we wanted to get Brad in is because there's something very cool going on that is a great fundraiser for Purple Heart Homes. But the first thing we're going to take care of is something that came up last week on the show again, and it is the fact that you believe, I think, and this is where you'll need to come in, that you once witnessed 80s pop star Falco leading some sort of service at a church in South Carolina. We were doing a topic, and people were calling in and saying like an obscure celebrity that they had run into somewhere. And June 6th, 2018 at 8:04 a.m., this Brad Borders right in front of me texted me while we were doing this on the air and said, I met 80s pop star Falco, you know, the guy who did that song Der Kommissar, while he was a worship leader at a church in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And at that point, by the way, I didn't even realize Falco was dead. Kids, look up Falco, by the way.
Long dead, too.
So I said, really? When was it? And he said, I think it was about 6 years ago. He seemed a little bit embarrassed about his 80s fame. And I said, wow. And then you said in the text, this is still following one after the other, I went to church with a friend of mine, and he said, hey, that guy leading the worship, that's Falco. And I said, no way. Then I must have Googled it because I said, you better look up Falco. He died in 1998, which was 20 years prior to this texting. So that's where we stand now.
And that has been a topic of conversation for the last 2 years. Falco just keeps coming up.
Yeah, so we've obviously become, we were good friends then, but we're even better friends now. And so every time we see Brad, we're like, how's Falco?
I think about this when someone mentions the word Falcon.
If I'm walking down the hallway and the other station's playing Rock Me Amadeus, like...
Right, of course, which is the other, that's a bigger hit, I think, maybe even than Der Kommissar.
We're talking to Brad Borders from Purple Heart Homes.
All right, so now in 2020, what do we know? Who did you see?
Right,
here's the scenario, again, before you even speak. Damn it. We have theories. Either your buddy was screwing with you and the minister of a church was in on it with you, which is my favorite option. Or B, you approached a man who was leading a church service and were like, hey, man, I loved your Der Kommissar song. And he was like, because he just wanted to be polite. And you took it as... oh, he doesn't really want to talk about his past because he doesn't want to sort of brag about his celebrity. Those are really only... is there a third option?
The third option, not as fun, in that there's an actual preacher somewhere spreading the lie that he's Falco.
Secondarily, wasn't Falco was German or Austrian or something like that? I want to know, was the guy putting on like an American accent? Because if you're going to fake being Falco, you got to go all the way, right?
Okay, and fourth option, there are two Falcos. And they would travel separately so that they could hit more spots and make more money on the concert circuit.
Right.
And this guy was the lesser known, maybe not real Falco.
Falco 2 Electric Boogaloo.
And is now preaching in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. So I'm sure one of those is the answer.
I think the solution is not nearly as funny as the conjecture.
Oh, no.
Shocking.
But the more than likely is that I had it wrong from the beginning.
Well, but how, though? Because you must have approached him and talked to him.
You misheard your
I
friend?
did. I talked to this guy. So
Okay.
so the whole story is this. Jimmy Kaiser, my friend in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. We went to this church service. There's a guy singing. He was amazing. He was amazing. And Jimmy taps me and he says, "Do you remember the song?" And he tells me the song. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then, so that guy, after he did the song that I thought he did, went on to produce a band and write songs for a band called Delirious, which was back in the 90s. They were kind of the U2 of the Christian music world. They're phenomenal, fabulous band. So anyhow, I was back in South Carolina at Mount Pleasant having dinner with Jimmy. And I said, hey, I need to clear something up with you, because I got on the radio with my friends Woody and Wilcox and talked about our Falco encounter back in 2012. And he was like, oh man, that wasn't Falco. I was like, yeah, I know.
Because he'd been dead for 14 years.
Since 1998. So as it turns out, it was a guy named Andy Piercy who was in a band. What was the name of the band, Woody?
After the Fire.
After the Fire. And they sang Der Kommissar.
1 year after Falco, a band called After the Fire had a hit with their Commissar.
They covered it. And so when he said Der Kommissar in the church service, he was like, yeah, he did the thing, Der Kommissar. And I was like, oh, he's Falco, right? In my brain. And so thus began this 8-year montage of false facts and seemingly embellished stories.
Well,
right?
Okay, wow, this is taking me a second to process this. So, not Falco, clearly.
Not Falco.
But he was in the band After the Fire.
Yes, he was the lead singer, Andy Piercy.
And they had a legitimate hit with the same song.
Legitimate hit with the same song. And he's British. He's not Austrian. And he's a delightful guy.
Okay, I have heard all of the evidence. I feel like this is on your buddy, because you can't just say Der Kommissar and expect you to know that there's a guy who covered it.
I'm going with that.
Yeah, but he probably didn't know that there were two groups that had a hit with Der Kommissar, right? Who does know that?
So you mean Brad's buddy only knows the cover guy and not the original guy of Falco?
All right, this is probably, let's wrap this up soon, but this is probably a case of, because like Woody said, the quote-unquote cover was so quick after the original, and I think a lot of people probably assume it is the original. I'm going to give it to him on that.
Well, either way, we can say Jimmy Kaiser was intimately involved in this whole charade for the last couple of years.
Agreed.
Jimmy, we thank you.
I don't know if I do want to thank him at this point. Right. I feel like it's gotten a little bit muddier, but I guess we do have the actual answer. And we still haven't gotten to the great event that Brad has put together that's going to help the great men and women who have served our country. Hang on. Let's take it. We got to do this now. Well, let's do this, and then we'll finish up with Brad Borders coming up next.
The Woody and Wilcox Show.
So we finally have a guest in the studio after all the COVID-19 has hit, and we spend 10 minutes talking to him about Falco and the band After the Fire. Kids, look all of that up when you get a chance. But what it really is our buddy Brad Borders from a great organization called Purple Heart Homes is in the studio with us. And the real reason we wanted to get him in was to talk about this great event that is happening here in the next little while. But we ended up talking about pop singer Falco for what seemed like a half hour. Brad, tell us about this event and how it came about and so forth.
In the midst of the COVID restrictions, fundraising for nonprofits has changed quite a bit. And so we haven't been able to put on a big gala or a banquet or even a golf tournament. It's really been hard to do that. And so the ability to raise funds is the key to what we do, to message what we do, to tell our story. And so I heard about a former Tour de France cyclist named Phil Guyman. He's ubiquitous in the cycling world on social media. He did an Everesting event. So he got on his bicycle, rode up and down this hill over and over and over and over again to achieve the elevation gain of Mount Everest. And he raised $110,000 in one day for a charity called No Kid Hungry. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he proved he did it by uploading his data to Strava, which is what all the cyclists and runners use. And so I was like, okay, all right, we can't raise money the way we've been doing. I love to ride bicycles. Let's do something like that. And I originally started with the Everesting idea, and then I found out it took Phil Guyman, professional level, get paid to ride a bicycle guy, 7.5 hours to do the Everest elevation. I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And so I said, we got to come up with another number. So I had a couple of friends that were on a team at 3rd Special Forces Group that many years ago were part of a rescue of Marcus Luttrell. If you ever seen the movie, read the book Lone Survivor, Marcus had a really bad day with his team. He was sheltered by an Afghan village, but it was looking bad, like he wasn't going to make it. And anyhow, some guys I knew when I served in the Army were on a team that went and helped get him, but they had to cross these mountains to go get him. And so I called my buddies and I was like, hey man, what were the height of those mountains? They were like, man, all of them were like 10,000 feet. And I was like, boom, there's a number.
This guy right here is Brad Borders, one of our favorite people from Purple Heart Homes.
So in this event that we're going to do, we're calling it Take That Hill. We're going to ride up Barrett Mountain. We're going to ride up it 16 times. It's a 2-mile stretch of road with 654 feet of elevation gain per ride up. We'll ride up and down it 16 times to achieve for each rider an elevation gain of 10,000 feet to honor those veterans that served over in Afghanistan.
Wow. What a cool idea. And so if you're hearing this and you're thinking, well, how do I come watch? You don't, right? So this is a smallish group of riders that somehow, and we'll get into this in a second, includes Woody.
Yeah. We're going to do live stream.
Okay, you're going to live stream.
We're going to live stream the event. Yeah.
Well, but there is a way that people can contribute or kick in some dough.
Right.
So explain that real quick.
So we have two ways. You can just contribute to Take That Hill by going to our website, and we've got an event page and within our website, and you can contribute. Just say, hey, I'd like to support that effort, right? And you can contribute directly to the event,
right?
And really, that money goes straight to helping a veteran immediately, right? Or we have this other initiative that's called Honor on the Hill, where all of us are going to be carrying 12 by 18 inch American flags up the mountain in honor of a particular veteran. And so we're asking people to consider sponsoring one of these flags to go up the mountain. So it works like this. Chris, you got a relative in your family that you love that served, and you pay $100 to sponsor this flag. We fold the flag into the triangle with the blue and the stars out, put it in a baggie. We put their name on the baggie. A rider takes it, puts it in the back pocket, takes it to the top of the hill. Take that hill.
Okay.
Honor that veteran on that hill. Then after the event's over, the next week, we're going to have an assembly line back at Purple Heart Homes, and we're going to be packaging up that flag with a certificate that says this flag was carried to the top of Barrett Mountain in honor of blank, your loved one, Sergeant Jones, your dad, right? That kind of thing. They'll get that. We've got some other goodies we're going to throw in that, and then that will be mailed to the sponsor.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's a double win because you get to honor a veteran you love, and you get to get something tangible for that. You get to participate with us without all the suffering, and it pays it forward because part of that $100 donation is going to pay for the shipping and the flag and everything that comes to you. But then the rest of it's going to go and it's going to pay it forward to a veteran with a housing need.
We're talking to Brad Borders from Purple Heart Homes.
The idea grew out of this. When I was in Iraq, I went out on our flagpole at our forward operating base, and I hoisted a flag up for my dad. And then I lowered it back down. I folded it up, put it in a box. I had my folks made up a certificate for my dad, and I shipped it home for him, and he still got it. And so that was the kind of thing that we wanted to do. We wanted to kind of commemorate some of the stuff that we do in the military, plus honor our veterans, plus pay it forward to some veterans in need.
Everybody may not know this, that Woody actually is an avid bicyclist.
I'm an avid mountain biker. There's a difference.
Okay. But obviously to the point that you do somehow keep stats on your rides.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all we really know from Woody is all the injuries that he suffers. Because that's what we celebrate on the show when he comes in and he's road rashed up the side.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can still see those pictures on our Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Which is horrifying.
Yeah. So Brad sent me a picture of the gear that they're going to be wearing.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry?
The kit.
Yeah, that's what it's called in the cycling world. The kit.
Wait,
The kit.
what is it?
Well, it's the shorts and the shirt. You've seen bicyclists, but it's all logoed up. Is that legitimate? Because I'll show that to you in a second, Chelsea. The Woody and Wilcox logo is proudly displayed on the rear end of the riders.
It was intentional.
On the butt.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
You guys, this is why I will never have my name on the show. I'm not going on some stranger's butt.
Cool beans.
Chelsea, if your name had been in the logo, we would have put it in more prominent.
Right there.
Right on the heart.
Right on the chamois.
Okay.
Is Woody going to wear the outfit?
Yeah, he has to.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And there's pictures.
We should, in all seriousness, this is going to be live streamed. We should find a way for people to put in money to place bets on when Woody will injure himself.
Yeah.
With the money going to Purple Heart Homes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's a way actually that we can, show the stream on our social as well somehow. There's got to be a way to do that.
We're talking to Brad Borders from Purple Heart Homes.
By the way, the event is October the 24th, and they'll start, it says, at 8 a.m. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's going to take us anywhere between 6 and 7 hours to do. We've got a great team. All kidding aside, I'm really glad Woody's doing it with us because it's going to be fun. Shared suffering is where friendships are galvanized and where tales will be told.
As Brad likes to say, it's completely stupid, but not pointless.
That's right. It is not pointless. In fact, that's our tagline on our T-shirt.
Right.
too.
That should be our show's tagline.
I was thinking the same thing.
It's not pointless.
Yeah.
It is stupid, but it's not utterly pointless.
That's right. Not utterly, but mostly.
Mostly pointless.
Well, we'll get all the information up on our social media, obviously, but purplehearthomesusa.org is their website. And, obviously, even if you don't want to donate a flag for a specific veteran, you can still do it. And just join up on their Hearts of Honor Club, where you can choose any amount to just donate on a regular basis every month, and they'll just automatically do it. $5-10, whatever you want to do. So that's Brad Borders, and Take That Hill is happening October the 24th, and we'll find a way for you to see the important parts.
Thank you.
Which will involve Woody crashing and burning at some point. So that'll be awesome. Yeah. Brad, thank you for what you do. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for clearing up Falco.
Oh, yeah. It's such a weight of guilt that is off of me now, right? I was just laboring. I was like, I've told an untruth for years.
Well, due to no fault of your own.
Yeah. Guiltless.
I do have a moral waiver.
I do know that now. And by the way, the pictures are up. If you're not following us on Instagram at Woody and Wilcox, you can actually see the bicycle gear that we were just referencing.
Kit.
And I know how many people want to see Woody in tight Lycra clothing. So you're going to be able to see that in all of its glory. At Woody and Wilcox on Instagram, same on Twitter. And you can get all the information you need about Take That Hill.